All right, we have a really interesting show for you today. You will not hear this anywhere else except for 6 months from now. That's how it works. We say it here first, and then 6 months later, everybody else is saying it. For instance, yesterday, the GOP failed to repeal and replace Obamacare again, and you can expect to hear a lot of people talking about Trump's legislative failures, and he can't do anything, can't get anything done in the Congress, even as he starts his new push for tax reform. But if you've been listening to this show, I've been telling you that Trump is winning two of the most important conservative fights there are. And suddenly today, this week at least, some other commentators, people who are not friendly to Trump, are catching on, which proves that the Andrew Klavan show is where the future comes to rehearse. Also, we have the mailbag. Woohoo! All your problems will be solved. But first, many people think Donald Trump will be facing a real challenge in the next presidential election. Trump's approval ratings are climbing, but they're still low. And with the Republican Congress divided and incompetent and dishonest and cowardly and reneging on every promise they made for the last 8 years and divided and incompetent, Trump hasn't managed to get much legislation passed. So it's hard to see how he'll ever manage to win re-election, especially when you consider the powerhouse Democrat candidates waiting to run against him. For instance, there's Joe Biden. Biden, who would be 77 by the time he took office, recently told reporters, quote, "You whippersnappers may not remember this, but I used to be pretty doggone important around these parts, and I'll be darned if I don't know a trick or two you youngsters haven't thought of. Why, if I'm elected president, I'm going to appoint, what's his name, to be the, what do you call it, and that other guy. And he's right on the tip of my tongue. He'll do that other thing, that the one thing that everybody thinks is such a big deal," unquote. Another hard-driving Dem who wants to get in the race is John Kerry. Kerry would only be 76 when he took office and wouldn't turn 77 until the month after that. Kerry recently told supporters, quote, "If I'm elected, I'll tell everyone about that time back in 1967. No, wait, it was 1968. No, 67, that's right. Oh, wait, maybe it was later, like 69 or so. What were we talking about? Dag nabbit, never mind. The whole point is that I was Secretary of State under Barack Obama when I finally brought peace to the Middle East." And maybe that was a movie I saw once. Or maybe I was just thinking about it back in 2012. Or was it 2013? It was 12, maybe 13, unquote. And of course, you can't count out another run by Bernie Sanders. The socialist Sanders would only be 79 when he took office. Sanders recently addressed a crowd of Venezuelans who were either cheering wildly or begging for food. And he said, quote, "If I'm elected, I will put this country on track to follow the economic model of the Soviet Union, which is doing great, or was the last time I looked, which was on my honeymoon when me and my cutie pie tripped the light fantastic in Moscow, so everything there looked wonderful. My socialist policies will revive the America of my youth in the sense that we'll all be driving 1950 Thunderbirds again," unquote. So, as we look ahead to 2020, all the Democrat candidates are raring to go, and each and every one of them is eager to do something, but they can't remember what it was. I'm sure it'll come back to them eventually. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan. This is The Andrew Klavan Show.